I win! That's my job! That's what I do!
Have you ever thought that there might be a devil inside you? What if this entity is not inside you, but someone around you? And even further, what if this devilish entity is yourself? In this video, we will talk about the movie The Devil's Advocate. The Devil's Advocate is not a story about Satan walking among humans. It's a story about humans willingly walking toward him. This film doesn't ask who the devil is. It asks a far more uncomfortable question. Why do we listen to him? Because the devil in this story doesn't whisper evil. He whispers reason. He whispers success. He whispers that you deserve this. He wears a suit. He speaks calmly. He understands your dreams better than you do. And most importantly, he never forces you to do anything in The Devil's Advocate. Evil doesn't arrive as cows, it arrives as opportunity. A better job, a bigger city, more money, more admiration. Things we spend our entire lives chasing. Our film begins by introducing us to Kevin Lomax, a moderately successful man working as a prosecutor in a small state. Kevin had never lost a case up to this point, and especially after winning his latest case. He became quite well known and was invited to work in New York. But there was a problem, because in his last case he had to defend a child rapist, or did he decide to do this himself? We will learn the answer to this question in the later parts of the video. Kevin's impressive speech, ambition, and the thought inside him of "I always win. I have always won" made him one of the most well-known prosecutors in New York. And the one who made this happen is, of course, Kevin Lomax's boss John Milton, whom we will talk about much more in the later parts. Let's talk a little about Kevin's family situation. According to his mother, Kevin's father died when he was little, and his mother is a Catholic who is loyal to her faith. Kevin is married to a beautiful and also hard-working woman named Mary, and he has a happy marriage. But everything started after moving to New York, because naturally New York is a big city, and the people Kevin works with are not ordinary criminals, but murderers, big businessmen, and others. Kevin could no longer make time for Mary like before. In fact, in one scene, Kevin's co-worker's wife says to Mary, "I have to make an appointment to see my husband," and this left Mary in shock. Even though they were getting richer day by day, Mary had started to go crazy. Let's talk a little about John Milton here, because he is the person behind all of this. In fact, with his ideas, way of speaking, and persuasiveness, he is very similar to the figure of the devil. A devilish man has an extraordinary ability to sense the weaknesses of others. He does not convince people. He makes them believe that they are following their own desires. He is patient. He does not rush, because his greatest weapon is time, and most of the time he is unnoticed. As time passes, Milton directs Lomax to more difficult cases. Now Lomax has no time to spare for Mary and has almost turned into an emotionless monster. First, the attraction of money, flashy apartments, and beautiful clothes feels very good. But gradually Mary's psychology deteriorates and she is neglected. In one of Lomax's cases, Milton warns him and tells him to take care of his wife. But Lomax does not pay attention to this and says, "If I leave this case and take care of my wife, after she gets better I will feel guilty for not finishing the case." After these words, Lomax successfully concludes the case. But he receives the news that his wife has been brutally raped by Milton. This is interesting, because throughout the trial, Milton was with him in the courtroom. Now everything is upside down, and Mary is hospitalized to receive psychological treatment. During this process, Lomax learns information from his mother that will change the course of the story. Yes, Milton was Lomax's father. While his mother was in New York, she had an affair with a waiter, and Lomax was born. That waiter was John Milton himself. Milton had followed Lomax until he reached this age, watching him and tracking his path. After this scene, Mary cannot endure all of this and commits suicide in the hospital in front of everyone. Now it is time for revenge, and Lomax takes a gun and goes to settle accounts with Milton. The confrontation between Milton and Lomax is not only the finale of the film, it is an open chess match between human will and demonic intelligence. Milton no longer speaks like a lawyer, but with a god complex. He describes humans as his favorite creation because he does not have to control them. He emphasizes that every choice Lomax made was actually the product of his own desires. At this point, the devil's greatest weapon is not fear or power, but the idea of freedom. For the first time, Lomax does not want to win. He realizes where his life, woven with career, ego, and the desire to be right, has led him. Every path Milton offers is the same trap in a different form. And here the film experiences a radical break. Lomax breaks the game by shooting himself. This is not an escape. It is the thing the devil hates most, an uncontrollable choice. The scene closes as the only real victory a human can win against the devil. A person who pays the price of free will with blood. The Devil's Advocate, when looked at on the surface, seems like a film about the devil, sins, hell, dark symbols, and a devilish figure. But the film does not ask its most disturbing question here. This film does not ask, does the devil exist? The real question is this: can a human already have turned into the devil through his own desires? In this film, the devil is not a being who forces people. He does not threaten anyone, deceive anyone, or drag anyone. On the contrary, he only listens to people, approves, he applauds, and he makes what a person already wants to do seem more logical. That is why he is dangerous. Because in the modern world, no one openly sells their soul, but everyone tears small pieces from their conscience for success, power, status, and pleasure. Kevin Lomax is not a bad person in the classical sense. He is intelligent, hardworking, charismatic, and sees himself as a moral person. But that is exactly why he is dangerous, because Kevin's evil hides behind the sentence, "I am just doing my job." He is a lawyer. He defends. He does not judge. He always positions himself as neutral. He thinks that he is not the guilty one, but only a part of the system. This is the cleanest way for a human to escape moral responsibility. Evil is not always active harm. Sometimes it is just silence. Sometimes it is just continuing. Kevin does not lie. He does not personally kill anyone, but he turns justice into a tool. He places conscience behind the desire to win. At the center of Kevin's personality is narcissism, but this is not self-admiration. It is intolerance of losing. For Kevin, winning is not a choice, it is an identity. If he loses, he feels worthless. He loses control. His existence is threatened. That is why conscience becomes a luxury for him. He has to win no matter the cost. And exactly at this point, John Milton enters. The character portrayed by Al Pacino is not a classical devil. He does not frighten. He does not threaten. He does not punish. On the contrary, he understands Kevin. He praises him. He justifies. Milton is the externalized form of the suppressed desires in Kevin's mind. He is more a function than a figure. When we look at Freud's psychological model, the picture is clear. Kevin is the ego. He thinks he acts logically. John Milton is the ID, pleasure, power, and desire and conscience. That is, the superego is silenced as the film progresses. Milton never tells Kevin, "You are doing wrong." On the contrary, he says, "You are already doing the right thing." This sentence is the most dangerous lie a human can tell himself. Milton's philosophy is very clear. He says that he gave humans freedom, but this freedom is irresponsible. It is limitless. It is without conscience. The film makes a very harsh criticism here. Freedom detached from ethics is not freedom. It is destruction. Do whatever you want. Answer to no one. And pleasure is sacred is the subconscious philosophy of the modern individual. And Milton simply voices this as Kevin rises. His wife Marian begins to fall. This is not a coincidence. What Marian experiences is not a simple madness. It is the result of psychological isolation. Kevin does not listen to her. He belittles her feelings. He sees her fears as exaggeration. He constantly gives the same message. The problem is you. This is the purest form of gaslighting. After a point, a person begins not to trust their own perception. They cannot distinguish reality from imagination. Their inner voice turns into an enemy. Mary Ann's madness is the Madness of being left alone as Kevin wins. Marion loses. The film presents us with a very clear equation. Success comes at the cost of someone else's. Destruction, and the real question is born here: is Kevin really free? Or is he just the most polished slave of his own ego?